Hey, this is Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is teaching tips, tools, ideas, and resources for new college instructors. As it's the first month of summer, you're probably not prepping for the fall term yet, but this is a great month to reflect on the past term to make sure your future term is stronger than the last. So in the month's theme, we're reflecting in order to move forward on a better path, right? So in today's video, we're focusing on that reflection aspect. And so what ways can you reflect on your last term? I have some videos about this topic that I'll link below. But the first step is, did you keep a teaching journal? So did you keep a journal where you reflected, where you noted down, hey, this assignment confused my students. I ended up having to add this resource, or this resource was very well received by my students. This was their favorite small class activity. This one they always struggled with. So if you were reflecting in a journal during the term, go ahead and get that journal so you can do this activity. If you did not do that during the term, then now is the time, right? Now when it's still really fresh, note down things you notice, patterns you notice with your students and how they reacted to various courses, materials, and assignments and activities in your class. So you have that information ready to go. Now the next step is if you use a learning management system, an LMS like Canvas or Blackboard or Moodle, etc., then usually that collects data automatically on how your students were interacting with various pages in your course. So if you're a data person, you might want to dive in. What of the assignments you gave to students, which one received the most attention? How much time was spent by students on these assignments? If you have pages where you had videos, you can usually see the video, like the view count, right? If you uploaded it to YouTube and then embedded it into your LMS, how many views did you get on various videos? Did you notice that, hey, the ones that received the most views are the ones about APA or MLA, or the ones that received the most views were the ones where I went over the assignment instructions, via video for them to see, later on, right? So if you have any way of collecting data on how much time, how much effort, how much engagement various elements of your course got from students, then again, note down, hey, these are the videos that got the most engagement. These are the pages where students spent the most time on. Here are the assignments where there was the most submissions. So if you allow for multiple submissions and the last one is the one that's graded, you might notice, okay, in assignment 2, they were submitting 2 or 3 versions before a deadline versus 1 and 3, it was like 1 and done. So what was it about the second assignment that caused issues potentially or drafts that the other 2 did not have, right? So looking at your data and again, finding out patterns, what do you think the reasons were behind this kind of engagement? So in this phase, again, it's basically, hey, let's get information about how the course went so that in the future, right, we'll talk about this more in the next video, now we take steps into improving the course based off of what you noticed. Now, a third step after you looked at your journal and looked at the data is looking at your feedback to students on assignments. So if you read through the formative feedback, summative feedback you gave your students, again, what patterns did you notice? Did you often have to say the citations were not correct in text? Did you often have to say that there were no topic sentences in the essays? Did you notice that a lot of them were incorrectly interpreting a certain theorist's theory? Right? So look at your own feedback that you gave to students and look for patterns as well, because that could tell you, okay, when I'm going forward, right, when I'm actually going to take action, I need to improve the lessons on these various topics because this is what's showing up a lot in feedback to students. And kind of like a bonus activity to do with reflecting at this point as well is reflecting on your own experience. Because so far we've been focusing on student experience. But how about you? Again, if you use your journal for this, great. But if not, think now. Did you find yourself, really stressed when it came to grading certain assignments? Were certain activities really hard for you to design and to prepare for your students? Did you really enjoy a certain aspect of your course and you want to make sure that that continues into the future? So with your own experience, what were the pros and cons this term? So you can have that as well, again, when we're taking action. And if you want to take that extra step, you might say, okay, so here's things I noticed about how I felt about certain things. How does that match with what I'm looking at in the student experience, right? Did I struggle the most with assignment 3 and I'm seeing that assignment 3 went really well for my students? Okay, that means my effort was well paid off, but how can I improve it for myself when it's already going really well for my students? Or maybe there is that match. Hey, assignment 2, this kind of went wrong in my mind, and I'm noticing now, looking at my student data, there are also these issues with assignment 2 as well. Good to know there's that match. So again, when I improve it, hopefully I'm improving it for both of us, right? Or I found this one the easiest one to grade, but it's the one that got the worst comments, the worst feedback from students because they really struggled with it. So again, there's this mismatch. So this is something to kind of point out when I'm going to work on my improvements. This is kind of a red flag in the patterns that I've noticed, right? So again, this first video is this reflection step. And then our next video of the month, we'll talk about how do you move forward, taking next steps to improve your course. So I hope you're having a great summer, and I'll see you next time.